Hello there YouTube, my name is Chuggy and today I am playing some Battlefield 3, playing some Conquest Domination on Zebra Tower, and today guys this is question time part 14. Yet again guys, you have submitted some fantastic questions and today I'm going to be talking through as many of them as I can during this gameplay of me running amok in Zebra Tower. That's all I can say really. This is actually a game which I've been meaning to upload. It is a pretty nice game. I joined late as you can see, although we have ticket advantage we didn't have any of the bases, which was a bit curious, but never mind. Today you're going to be seeing me run amok with my personal favourite personal defence weapon in Battlefield 3. And I'm going to answer the first question this week in this way, if you see the segue I'm going for here. Super Chicken 56 asked, what is my favourite personal defence weapon in the game? And in short, it's the MP5, and you're going to see me run amok with it in this game. It's an interesting weapon. It is almost, I don't know, schizophrenic. It seems to be incredibly good, or incredibly good in some people's hands and incredibly bad in others. It's very, very strange. And when I first started using it, I hated the thing. I couldn't get it to work for me. But once I unlocked bits and pieces, and especially the extended magazine, my word, it is it's a devilish piece of work. It's very, very powerful. So you're going to see me run amok. Although I'm not using it at this precise moment in the game, you will see me doing some quite John McClane style maneuvers. And in fact, here we go. I think I'm going to go and pick it up now. Lovely. Good timing. So yeah, it's my favourite all-kit weapon. It is a hell of a weapon once you get it unlocked and used to it. And you can pull off some crazy crap with it, as you're about to see. So, with that, I hope that answers your question, Super Chicken 56. I hope you enjoy the gameplay as well. If you have any questions for me you would like me to answer next question time, all you need to do, guys, is pop those questions down in the comments below. Unfortunately, I am time limited again, so I won't have time to answer all of your questions, but as I said last time, I'll try and get through all the questions, and I'll answer in text form in the comments if I don't get a chance to answer it in the video. So without further ado, let me get on to your great questions. Now the second question this week comes from Mr. Hab142, and their question is Medal of Honor Warfighter or Black Ops 2? Good question, and you want to know something? I'm leaning at this point more towards Medal of Honor. Two reasons really. First of all, it looks pretty damn sweet, and the fact that you can play as, national or nationality, so obviously being a Brit, you can play as the SAS. Freaking awesome. I like that, and it will obviously give it a bit of a competitive edge between nations, which I hope if they really play off that, could make the game really last. You could almost have, global wars by nation, so it should be pretty damn sweet. The thing with Black Ops, I think, to be honest, I can put it up in, just one sentence. I'm done with Call of Duty, I'm just tired of it. Don't get me wrong, Black Ops 2 does look awesome, and the fact they're going to the future, they're talking about control of robots and everything like that, that's something which could potentially happen in the near future. And obviously that's not an encouraging sign. But I think I'm just done with the Call of Duty playstyle. I'm kind of bored of it. It's just been the same for so long. I think they need to reboot it almost, just to get it fresh again, get it interesting. I think it's just getting a bit tired, so I'm more leaning towards Warfighter at this point. Hopefully I don't overhype myself and get disappointed, as to be honest I was a bit for the first Medal of Honor, so I'll say that much. Anyway, thank you for the question, Mr. Hab. 142. There we go. Next question comes from Kev the Red, and they think, do I think that Infinite C4 and Claymore should be allowed in close quarters? As obviously you get the Claymore C4 spam, especially around objectives. Well, first of all, it isn't infinite in terms of you can only place a certain number of blocks of C4 or 2 Claymores per time, but it is infinite because obviously they are a support who would have the equipment, obviously, and yeah, it does annoy the crap out of me. The thing with C4 and Claymores is they can be used very legitimately, blowing out walls, all that kind of stuff, but again, I think there's quite a lot of inward focus at the moment thanks to the assignments. People are just looking out for themselves, and it's encouraging I would call unobjective play. Even though you strap in a load of C4 to an objective, it kind of deters people from playing the objective on the other team. That kind of sucks, and it's very annoying, and I don't personally like it very much anyway. And I have talked at length about it. I'm not sure if you could really do anything though in terms of balancing it out, nerfing it. Perhaps you have to be in a certain range of C4 to detonate it or something, but I don't know, it's a tricky one. It's a tricky one. Certainly it's something which is annoying, and I think it's going to be tricky to fix. I think you're just going to have to, be a little bit more cautious. Just check the ground for Claymores, C4, chuck the grenade down, get the bonus points for destroying the equipment. A pain, but it's something you have to look out for, I guess. So, yeah, it's annoying. If you can nerf it or do anything about it, that's a bit of a trickier question, unfortunately. So thank you for the question. Kind of sorry I can't really answer it. Next question comes from Mega Ownage 100, and they ask, would I consider getting Minecraft? Well, I already have it. I've been playing Minecraft since alpha. I came across it thanks to a couple of YouTubers, and I haven't looked back. I really do enjoy playing Minecraft. But the thing is, though, that I think Minecraft on YouTube in terms of videos has been done to death. And I don't think I could really add anything, to be honest. You know, there's nothing really I could share. You know, I'm just a guy who builds things and you know, has shenanigans or whatever else. You know, myself, Tom, Matt, you know, Mike's, we all have Minecraft, we all muck around, we've all got a little private server that we all run around on. If you want to see something from that, I guess I could talk to the lads about it, but to be honest, it's not something I'd really thought about doing, so there you go. Power to you guys. If you guys want to see some Minecraft, just say the word, I'll see if I can sort something out, of course, if the lads are okay with that, because obviously it's their server, so I'll say that much. But yeah, Minecraft, very neat game, just perhaps a little overdone on YouTube, I'm thinking. Anyway, I digress. Thank you, Mega Ownage, for the question. Next question comes from Brandon Jackson, and they ask is, how come no one's ever on my server? And the second question is, what will be my favourite sort of bit of DLC? Well, the first question about not being on my server, unfortunately, it's a cruel thing to do with the quick join. Unfortunately, the way that, or at least it seems like the way that Battlefield 3 works with the matchmaking, is if the game has a certain number of players, like a threshold number of players in the room, it will join people in quite happily. The problem was I could never get the server to get to that threshold reliably, and of course people see, oh, only 4 people, I won't join, because there's blatantly no game going on. It's kind of like a double-edged sword, so you know, you've got no game going on, and of course people don't join because there's no game going on. So unfortunately, it never really got populated, never got going. It was okay for a couple of weeks, but the thing is, when it's £50 a go, and you know, I've just bought all sorts of things, I'll be telling you about that in a minute, and another question, it's expensive. It's an expensive thing to do. So the server has actually expired at this point, the rental has run out, and unfortunately I can't afford to actually renew it. So unfortunately it was a case of matchmaking wasn't helping by not putting people in. I would advertise, so now and then you guys would come in and it would be great, but unfortunately it just couldn't keep the momentum going, so it got empty, and of course you guys want to play some matches, alright? You don't want to sit in an empty server all day. So yeah, kind of a pain really, a real pain, but that's the way it goes with servers. That's server management, and hence why it's an expensive old game to keep one of these servers going. Anyway, that's that one, that question. The next question is, what do I think the best bit of DLC will be in my eyes? You want to know something? There's something about Aftermath. There's something tells me that's going to be something special. And for those of you who don't sort of, or not aware or quite what's going on in the DLC, you've got Close Quarters, well, you had back to Karkand, you've got Close Quarters, Armoured Killers next, you have Aftermath, and then Endgame. Now Aftermath, there's a bit of hubbub about dinosaurs, but again, I'll get back to a question along those lines in a minute. So yeah, Aftermath, something's, I get a feeling, a good feeling that there's going to be something pretty special. So there you go. Brandon, thank you for those questions. Next question comes from Dr. BCD PS3 and Mr. Hab142 again, and they asked the same question. Do I have a girlfriend? Short answer is no, and I haven't had one for a little while. Unfortunately, university, it's, well, a bit of a bitch in terms of you've got loads of work and you don't really get too much time to focus on much other things other than work. But no, is the short answer. I do not have a girlfriend at this point in time. I've had girlfriends in the past, but no, not this current point in time. Can't really say much more than that. Thank you guys for those questions. That question. Next question comes from Epic Boosh, and they ask, do you have any ideas on how to keep Battlefield 3 fresh for people who have like done everything, unlocked everything? Yeah, I've got a great little thing that I was doing anyway for a little while before DLC and things were released. And basically, it was the inspiration for Challenge Chuggy, a little series I did where, you know, you guys would set me challenges, and that will come back at some point when I get an opportunity to sort myself out with everything. Basically, what I would do is I would set myself like a challenge to try and achieve something in a game. There's a popular thing going on, I forget what its name is, but basically you kill someone with a kit, you pick up their kit, you kill someone with that kit. Basically you get one kill with each kit and you drop it and you pick up the next one. That's quite an interesting thing to do. I did it a few times, I thought, oh, that's pretty good fun. Other things are, you know, setting yourself challenges, you know, get a headshot at end distance with this thing, or get so many kills with a knife, you know, that kind of thing. Just set yourself little in-game goals. And remember, at the end of the day, that's all the games are. You have the greater goal, I guess, of, say, Battlefield, you know, winning the game, or doing well, whatever it may be. But set yourself little challenges on the way, and again, as I talked about in the motivation video I did, if you can make, you know, your motivation of playing the way you want to play a line of others, you can have a good time with it. and set yourself little challenges, vary things up, get a little creative, pistol only, whatever, and have a good time with it. At the end of the day, games are meant for fun, and challenges, little mini games you can do with yourself, like you see me jumping off things onto people's heads, or well, there was nearly Assassin's Creed guy at the bar there, but didn't quite work out. Just keep an eye out for fun little things you could do. Yeah, just challenge yourself. Do something you wouldn't normally do. That's certainly something I do from time to time, and it's good fun. So I hope that helps. Next question comes from Arsenal 2022, and they ask, do I think that Battlefield 3 is the most realistic FPS shooter ever? No. In short, it's... don't get me wrong, it's a decent shooter, but if you want a realistic experience, you need a proper simulator. There's a lot of hubbub around a game called Armour at the minute, thanks to a mod called DayZ, where it basically turns the game into like a zombie game. Battlefield 3 is good, don't get me wrong, you've got destruction, you've got a nice range of weapons which are, relatively speaking, characteristic, but in terms of real war, this is nothing like what it would be. You don't have ballistics, you don't have fatigue, you don't have pain management, you don't have encumberment management, you don't have full weapon ballistics in terms of wind, you don't have weapon jamming, failing, maintenance, all that kind of stuff. I mean, in reality, any scenario with firearms, you're a one-shot kill in some form or another. If you get shot, you don't treat yourself, you're going to bleed out. If you get shot in certain parts, obviously like the head, you're dead anyway, so what's the point? Battlefield is good, don't get me wrong, it's a lot more realistic than other shooters out there, but it is by far no way in a means completely realistic. But you know what, something it's interesting though, because by making it a little unrealistic, it makes it a game. For instance, all weapons are designed to absolutely annihilate one another. All weapons are designed to be the best they can be. But in terms of a game, that wouldn't make it particularly balanced. So game designers, they have to do clever things with the weapons to make them characteristically right, but at the same time balanced and fair to use. So like this MP5, say, destroys at close range, as it would, but obviously, it's a 9mm Parabellum round, or should be, something like that. It's going to do some pretty decent damage at all ranges, really. It's a pistol round. So yeah, it's an interesting sort of balance they've got to make. Anyway, I'll digress, I'm ranting on, but don't get me wrong, Battlefield is an amazing first-person shooter. If it's the most realistic ever, no. Thank you for the question. Next question comes from Camper Owns, and they ask, how did I get my original PSN ID? And I presume you mean Chuggy. Well, you want to know something? It's a funny old story, this, and I'll be quick with it, but basically, I want to get a PS3 as soon as they were announced, basically, and when I heard about PSN, I thought, yes, excellent, very good. Because from back in the PlayStation 2 days, it was all separate systems, it wasn't particularly smooth, let's say, as PSN is today, with one name everywhere kind of thing. Anyway, basically, as soon as I heard PSN, I was like, great, okay, let's get signed up. I wanted to use the name Chuggy. I do go by others online. I have other game, PSN IDs, whatever else. Anyway, so that was all well and good, and then they delayed the PS3 in Europe. I was kind of like, crap, I might not get my name now. And it was funny, Sony then released a little web page where you could reserve your name, and that's what I did. Put Chuggy in, it was available, ding, here I am. So that kind of explained that, really. As for the actual name, I've mentioned it before, it's a play on my surname and a couple of other nicknames as well, so I'll say that much. So thank you for that question. Next question comes from Jack Smith, and they asked, will I do some live streams? Absolutely. I can't do it at this point because the internet isn't quick enough here where I am at the moment, back at home, but yeah, it's very much on my radar, something I want to be doing. Once I get some really nice quick internet again, it'll be very much on my radar. So thank you for that. The Alex8725 asks, what gun do I have the most kills with? Well, actually, it's a rifle I've got the most kills with in Battlefield 3. It's the L96 with over 1,600 something odd. You might go, well, that's not very many. That's right, but that's because I've got, I don't know, 10 or 15 weapons above 1,000 kills. I tend to be someone who doesn't tend to just play one weapon. I play plenty of different weapons. So L96 does have the most, although it's not very many, but I've played other weapons equally as much, to be honest, so it's pretty close. So I hope that answers that. Next question comes from Dizzer9, and they ask, when I'm choosing screen resolutions, I guess to play games or whatever else, what do I go with and why? And do I play any sports games? Well, I run 720p on my PS3 all the time. That's just for recording. 1080i is as high as a hop hog can go. and to be honest, it isn't really as good as 720p in terms of the file size and everything. It's not really worth it. So 720p for everything, it just makes things more uniform, a bit more easy, I don't know. As for sports games, I do play plenty of sports games. As a few of you will know, I'm a big motorsport nut, so I play plenty of racing games, but I've also dabbled in football, wrestling, if you can believe it. I play a few sports games, none really too, I wouldn't say properly, I just do it for fun. I don't get properly into them and invest loads of time, but I do play some sports games, yes. Although I'm not particularly good, say FIFA, I'm terrible, so I'll say that much. Thank you for the question. Next question comes from Riffler24, and they ask, what do you think about custom game modes? So like you'd have a server which says repair tool only or defib only. Well, it's interesting, actually, because first of all, if it's a ranked server, you're not allowed to limit weapons. It's a little contract thing you say yes to when you sort out the server. You cannot ban weapons in a ranked game. If it's unranked, fair enough, and is an interesting change of pace, much like, just challenging yourself in games as you play. Yeah, it's something different to do. But the thing with those game modes at the same time is they can get quite old quite quickly. Because obviously once you've repaired tooled a couple of people, you might get a bit of a chase going on between people wanting to get revenge and whatever else. But personally, it's not something I find particularly enjoyable, to be honest. I just find it gets a bit samey after a while. I get a bit bored of it. But yeah, it's an interesting thing, or an interesting server, set up. If it's for me, I'm not really sure, and obviously, people ban when you don't follow the rules or whatever else, but anyway, that's a whole nother discussion about banning people. I've been banned from more servers in the last week than I care to remember, just because I've been playing well, which kind of sucks, but never mind. I digress, another digression. Thank you for the question, Riffler. Next question comes from TomSmith95, and they ask, who do I think is the most unlucky Formula 1 driver? Well, in short, Martin Brundle. Many regard him as the greatest driver never to win a race. Unfortunately, he just got into all sorts of bad luck. Just off the top of my head, flywheels blowing up, getting into pretty big accidents. He's an accomplished driver. He's won Le Mans. He's done well in sports cars. He was never able to do it in Formula 1 for various reasons. So he's, I would say, the unluckiest. There have been others, obviously, they've gone, they've been in position to win world championships and they've been beaten and whatever else, but that's Formula 1. At least they got wins. Poor old Martin didn't even get that far, so unlucky for him. I think he's the unluckiest driver, I'll say that much. Thank you, Tom, for the question. Next question comes from an Uneasy Thug, and they ask, do I believe in secret organisations like the Illuminati? And they sort of ask, Illuminati a la Deus Ex Human Revolution. And what I will say first of all, though, is Deus Ex Human Revolution, if you haven't played it, go and get it. You will not regret the purchase. It is an incredible game. As for believing in secret organisations, you want to know something? Why not? Although there's like the conspiracy theories and all that stuff, and I don't necessarily believe in those, organisations, shadowy organisations, are sure to exist. The amount of power they may have is another question, but yeah, I can imagine there being secret organisations with their agendas and everything else. It's a scary prospect, very scary prospect. The Illuminati in particular, being in control of, I believe it's in the United States, they have complete control of everything. Yeah, quite scary. I mean, it's like the Patriots from Metal Gear. The sudden realisation you have absolutely zero power. So, yeah, I don't see why they couldn't exist, if what they could actually do, however, is an unmatter, so I'll say that much. Thank you for the question. Next question comes from Mar10, I'd say, there's a 1 in there. And they ask, do I usually play with a headset when I'm playing with people I don't know, just, more tactical, more coordinated? And I gotta be honest, no, I don't these days. I used to back in the Modern Combat days, but that was just purely because that's the way you had to do it. Today it's better. You do have like subtle prompts like pressing select on the PS3 to indicate flags and things like that. I should probably get on the headset more on PSN per se to try and coordinate. But unfortunately, technically, I can't plug into two things at once, because normally I'm talking on Skype or something, or listening to music or something, I don't know, from my computer. And yeah, not good really. I should definitely do it a bit more. I'd be with you on that one. And certainly, if you want to win games quite convincingly, headsets are the way to go. So yeah, I haven't been doing it personally very much recently, which has definitely not been good, but That's the way it goes sometimes. I'll say that much. So just keeping an eye on time, I'm going to have to get through these next questions quite quickly. So next one comes from Chris Halliwell 171, and they ask, do you think DRS has made overtaking of Formula 1 a little too easy? Yeah, I can see the argument, but at the same time, everyone has it available under the same circumstances. It's a more strategic tool, I'd say. Certainly, you know, there's a lot of overtakes which have happened, which, thanks to DRS, which have been made very easy, but at the same time, it's kept the races, I think, more interesting. So on, you know, net balance, I think DRS has not made a real difference to the overtaking in terms of making it easier. I think it's made the races more balanced. I don't know, you know, helping drivers get by slower cars or whatever else. I'll say that much. Thank you for that. Next question comes from Riptide7177, and they ask if I can make DLC for any game, what would it be? And also, what would I include in DLC? You want to know something? I'm going to be really boring. I'm going to say Battlefield 3 and Back to Modern Combat. I've said this many times because Battlefield 2 Modern Combat had some of the best maps I've ever seen in a Battlefield game, and so few people have experienced them. Some seriously classic, proper, vehicle, massive Battlefield maps on a PS2, and people who have played on PS2 and the 360 when it got updated there will know it's a hell of a game and really does need to have a bit more light shone on it, I think, personally. I'll digress. Thank you for that question, Riptide. Next two question comes from Oil Kills. Or is that Ollie Kills? Ollie Kills, I think, maybe, I don't know. They asked, first of all, what do I think about the Fallout games? And the next instalment, I love the Fallout games. Fallout 3 is in my pantheon of greats, as I call it, the best couple of games I've ever played. Love the Fallout series. New Vegas was a little bit of a letdown, but you never know. I'm not sure if they're working currently on the next Fallout. I think they're more focused on Skyrim with DLC and whatnot. So, but yeah, Fallout, me gusta, me like. I'll say that much. Oh, I'm running out of time. And their other question is, do I miss any good old sort of fashion World War II games? Yeah, you want to know something? It's funny how things go. Everything's gone modern day, and I kind of miss the old school, you know, M1 Garand, KAR98, all that kind of jazz. I could see perhaps going back to World War II doing relatively well, but I think perhaps going even further, World War I would be quite interesting. Having come back from Belgium, my word, you don't realise the devastation until you actually go, I'll say that much. So yeah, I do miss the sort of World War II style. It's a different time, but yeah, I could see something a bit different working quite well. Thank you for that. Next question comes from Jez PD, and they ask, although they enjoyed playing Sniper Elite V2, they felt that, you know, some elements of the game were a bit of a letdown. For instance, the AI being a bit daft and whatnot. And the question is, do you think that a slightly flawed game can be better than a really polished game just because of the feel, that it's, you know, immersive, I think is what you're going for? Yeah, I know what you mean, and certainly Sniper Elite, in this case, I won't spoil it, but yeah, it has got some fantastic features, and it does feel like a very complete game. But unfortunately, it's one of these things where you need the complete package, and I think that Sniper Elite is just missing a few things from it being away from there. But yeah, certainly a little bit of an incomplete game could be definitely better than a polished game if it delivers the experience you're looking for. And at the end of the day, if you find the game enjoyable, that's all it really needs to have achieved. I've played games which people have hated, and likewise, I don't play games which people love. That's the way things go. It's all down to personal taste, and if it gives you the experience you want, it's done its job. That's my view on it anyway. I hope that answers that question. Next question comes from Prestian, and they ask, how come I didn't answer their question from last episode? Time, unfortunately. In fact, I've put a freeze frame in here to try and get through these last few that I can see here. And the next question is, am I excited for the next Battlefield DLC? Of course. Armoured Kill looks awesome. Going on to the vehicle end of the Battlefield spectrum should be good fun. AC-130 for the win. There you go. Next question comes from TDunk1994, and they ask, what do I think about playing Battlefield 3 hardcore rather than your core? It's interesting. I don't do it very often because, well, back in the day, it was just a snipe fest, everyone running around getting one-shots with snipers. I haven't played it as of late, but certainly you have to approach things differently, and that gives it a nice edge, let's say. So I'll say that. Thank you for the question. The Asbeth asks, what do you think about DICE who create a new bug with each update? You want to know something? It's not as easy as that, unfortunately. Software development, I could make a whole video about this, software development and game development in particular is not easy. It's not just add. For instance, say you change a statistic about the way that a bullet works in the game, you've got to test every single weapon which uses that bullet. Say all the hard surfaces, like things which you're not meant to go through, the collision detection. Someone's got to figure out that everything works right in terms of the collision detection. That ain't easy. Yeah, obviously it sucks that there are bugs in the game, but that's software. There are bugs everywhere in software. And it sucks that people exploit the bugs more to the point. I mean, I was in a game yesterday where there were admins in a server, and they were glitching on Operation Metro. You killed them, you got kicked. I don't get people at times. Anyway, yeah, it sucks that bugs are in the game. That's something which is going to be in all software to varying degrees. It's people who use them to their advantage, which I think is more the problem. And unfortunately, that's just the situation we find ourselves in at times. So, there we go. Thank you for that. Semsextrium, I think I just butchered your name, my apologies, asks, what do I think about Assassin's Creed 3 and Dishonored? I'll be honest, I haven't heard of Dishonored, I'm going to have to look that one up, but Assassin's Creed 3 I'm interested in, but if they continue to show British soldiers getting killed basically by Connor, I thought it was meant to be Assassins v Templars, not Assassins and America v Britain. Kind of a bit concerned that they're trying to go for a political let's sell well in the States play. I thought this was meant to be a story game. Anyway, I digress. Thank you for that. Someone in Sweden asks, would I, if there was some sort of a survival mode in BF3, would I like it? Battlefield 3 dinosaurs, please. I'll say that much. I would love to see something daft like that. Just something a little light-hearted, a little less serious. I would like to see. Peter Beatty asks, what are my plans now I've finished university? Getting ready for the world of work. Finding a flat, renting it, buying a car, I've done that, and the insurance and everything else. I'm now very poor again. And in general, just resting, relaxing, getting ready for the world of work. It's going to be an interesting time ahead, I'll say that much. So that's my plans. Thank you for the question. H.G. Kolaka asks, what are my views on Finnish Formula 1 drivers in general? Well, Finnish drivers in general are very, very, very talented. From what I understand, you start driving for like the age of 10 or something, because obviously adverse conditions, and I think that sets racing drivers up very, very well indeed. So, Häkkinen, Räikkönen, Keke Rosberg, all have achieved great success, and I think that it's just thanks to the country, the environment, that you start to learn to drive and learn about cars so young. I think that helps. I mean, there's a thing on Top Gear a few years back about James May doing some like banger racing, and they were like 10-year-olds beating him and stuff. It's quite funny anyway. I digress. Yeah, a lot of respect for Finnish drivers, I'll say that much. Next question, three questions to go. Next question comes from I Suck Bananas, and they ask, do you think that violence in video games creates violence in everyday life? You want to know something? I think it can, but games need to be moderated, let me put it like that. So the number of people I've been playing, say, Modern Warfare 2 against, and they're 5, and they're cursing like sailors, I kind of go, bloomin' hell, I wasn't like that when I was 5. How can people think this is acceptable to play in these circumstances? I think that certainly games can have an impact. Young children in particular are very impressionable. Yeah, I can certainly see games changing it there, but I think really that games need to be much more tightly regulated in terms of you have to be 18 years old to play a particular game, say, like Battlefield, for instance, because, there are content in the game which isn't appropriate for younger ages, dare I say. So yeah, I can see violence and bad behaviour, everything else coming across, but I think that's not really the game's fault. I think it's the fact that it's being consumed by someone who isn't ready for the content, let's say. So, I mean, there was a discussion about Jamie Bolger here in the UK, that was a long time ago. That was to do with films. It's in all forms of media. They said about books, films, TV, now games. It's media. I digress. Thank you for the question. Next question comes from Homsid T-Bagu. Oh, I see what you did there, well done. And they ask, when did you start seeing the channel starting to grow the most? You want to know something that's funny? It's often when the sort of DLC and things have come out, I've put out videos in particular to obviously showcase that, and obviously a lot of you guys have watched that and seem to enjoy it, so thank you for sticking with me. But yeah, it's all about getting the videos out there and making sure that they're found in the search results, and this actually comes into the next question from Mr. Costello50, and they say, how do you get subscribers, how do you get views, whatever else? It's all about the searches, it really is. Get those tags right. Use, basically, if you can get your video into like the top 5 or 10 in the search thing when you search for a video, you're going to do well. You're going to get views on it. So my advice to anyone who makes videos is basically, say you're going to make a Battlefield 3 video about close quarters. When you type in the search bar on YouTube, like BF3, you get a load of suggestions. Put those suggestions, like Battlefield 3 close quarters gameplay, all one sort of, well, sentence. Put those in inverted commas, like quote marks, in your tags, and that search will directly match onto those tags. That will help your videos get out there massively, certainly that's what I've noticed, and good times are had. So I'll say that much. I hope that helps. Thank you for those questions, and blimey, I've overrun this gameplay by about 10 minutes, so I'll see if I can find to cut anything else in. If not, it's going to be a freeze frame, so I apologise for that. Anyway guys, as always, thank you so very much for watching. That was 33 fantastic questions, and there'll be more I'll be answering in text in the comments. If you have, again, anything you would love to ask me, please do feel free to leave it down in the comments below, and I'll be more than happy to answer it next time. So guys, as always, thank you so very much for watching. I've been Chuggy, and I'll see you next time, out on the battlefield.